Joining me now is a longtime ally and friend of President Biden, South Carolina Congressman Jim Clyburn, who's already endorsed Vice President Harris for the Democratic presidential nomination. Congressman Clyburn, thank you for being with us. Just this morning, you reiterated your support for President Biden's candidacy. You said Democrats should look for ways to coalesce around him. Obviously, you were instrumental in his victory the first time around. Were you surprised by his decision to drop out?
Well, thank you very much for having me. No, I was not surprised at all. This morning when I made that statement, I made it and followed it closely with saying that if he were to change his mind, I would change mine. But I've been saying now for several weeks that if for any reason President Biden were to decide not to run, that I thought that Vice President Harris should be our choice. And that's who I would be supporting. And that's, I said that this morning, last night, and I stand by that. He decided not to run. And so I've decided to support Vice President Harris.
And you have endorsed Harris already today. You've also previously warned your party about trying to bypass Harris for a different candidate. How concerned are you tonight about that possibility? Do you see anybody on the horizon who you think might try to run?
Well, you know, I also said that our Rules Committee, the Democratic National Committee, Rules Committee, put together a process. And they must have had something like this in mind, because the process spells out what you do if you wish to run for the presidency. And in this instance, all you need to do is gather 300 signatures, no more than 50 from any a single state, and you can have your name placed in nomination. Go to work and do that within the next few hours or next few days, and you may have your name placed into nomination, and then start working the phones like everybody else. Now, that is the process that's in place. So when I hear people calling for a new truncated process, the Rules Committee put that in place from the beginning. And so if people were to just pause a little bit, take a look at the rules, it's there, laid out for anybody to see, and anybody can participate in.
Well, as we mentioned, sources tell my colleague Jake Tapper that West Virginia Senator, who's now an independent, Joe Manchin, is considering re-registering as a Democrat running for president. What's your thinking on that?
Well, he's free to do that. And I suspect that Vice President Harris will welcome him into the contest, and that's as it should be. It also so happens that he preceded me on Jake Tapper's show this morning, saying something just the opposite. So I guess times change, even in short order, and people's minds will change as well. In fact, he swore this morning he had no interest in running for president.
Congressman Clyburn, some black voters have expressed to CNN that they're not confident or not sure that the nation would vote for a woman of color to be president. What do you say to that concern?
Well, you know, you're never confident as to what the voters will do in a set of circumstances. I am confident of this as well. You will never know until you get into the contest and you run the race. To sit on the sidelines and say, I'm not sure. My dad cautioned me against that from a little child. You get into the contest and run the race. I remember when I got elected to Congress, a lot of people discouraged me from running because I had run for other offices and had lost. And one friend said to me, you've lost 3 races, 3 strikes and you're out. And that's a baseball rule. You don't live your life by baseball rules. And so you can't not say, I can't, if you've never tried. So we get in here, we make the best case. I do think she's the best candidate, best prepared candidate at this particular juncture. I think the American people will see that in her, and they will compare her to the alternative. Just as Joe Biden often asks people to do with him and Donald Trump, she gets that opportunity. And I do believe that the American people see her stacked up against Donald Trump and his 2025 project and what he has in store for the American people, she is going to win this race, and she is going to win it with massive support, not just from other Democrats across the board and independents. I've already seen, I don't know if it's true or not, I'm very leery about the stuff I see online these days, that some PAC associated with Nikki Haley just endorsed her. I don't know if that's true or not, but I would not be surprised. And I think you'll see a lot of that taking place between now and Election Day.
Do you have any thoughts on who she should select as a vice president, as a running mate? And also, do you think she should name that person relatively soon before the convention?
Well, I don't know as to what the time frame ought to be, but I know there are a lot of people out there. As Manchin said this morning, he likes the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro. I like him too. Andy Beshear out in Kentucky. I don't know Beshear as well as I knew his father before him. This is my 84th birthday, so I've been around for a long time. And so I remember Beshear's father, and I know who he is. I don't know him very well. But I also know Roy Cooper up in North Carolina, who is a two-term governor in North Carolina. North Carolina is a swing state. Whether we call it that or not, Obama carried it the first time, lost it the second time. Joe Biden came within 3 or 4 percentage votes of carrying it this time. So North Carolina brings about 15 electoral votes. It will be a very good contest for us if you had Roy Cooper on the ticket. So we've got a great crop of governors, and there are some business people whose names I've heard who might be looked upon as that as well. She'll go through her process. She'll vet these candidates, and she'll make a decision, and I'm going to support her decision, whoever it might be.
Congressman Clyburn, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for having me.